I have so much.
Finally. How was the concert last night, man? Whoa. I can't hear you.
Oh,
Now I can.
oh, you can.
Yeah. How was last
We're all
night
good.
in Bogota?
Mind blowing, mind blowing.
Yeah.
Yeah, three shows. Well, we did the meet and greet show, but 3 shows so far have been intense, rammed, packed, and just crazy, absolutely crazy. Two in Chile were just mind blowing, and then Bogota last night, equally so, equally so. Very many people, and very happy it seemed.
The first question cannot be any other. How is Mantas doing after the heart attack?
Well, he's got to rest. You know, when he had the first heart attack, because he died and they had to bring him back. Physically, they fixed him, but you know, mentally, it does kind of screws with your mind because now you realize that you're not going to last forever. So he was having a very hard time doing that. But he was getting fitter. He was getting prepared for touring, for shows, and then he had another heart attack, and it was like no. So physically, he's okay. You know, he's got to rest. He just has to rest because it's taken a lot out of him. But in his mind, you know, of course, it's scary stuff, isn't it? I guess so. He's very scared, and you know, I don't know. Physically, he could have committed to the dates, but mentally, he definitely couldn't because he doesn't. He has the idea: what if he's on an airplane? What if he's in a foreign country, miles or thousands of miles away, and dies? You know, so he's got a fear now. So, but I think just some rest, talking to some therapists, and a bit of, you know, getting his angst out will help a great deal. So all we can do is love him and support him and wait. And so I'll continue to fly the flag until he's ready and feels good enough and he wants to do it. So it's good.
How's the band dealing with his absence?
Well, you know, it was when I had to do the second half of the American tour, and of course he couldn't go because his wife was sick, his partner was sick. And so it was a choice of either cancelling or maybe finding someone else. And I thought, well, I don't know if I want to find anybody else. But then I thought about Mike Hickey, who had been with Venom, been with Kronos on the Metal Black album, and obviously had been with Venom with Calm Before the Storm album in the late 80s. So I thought, well, at least that way I'm keeping it in the Venom family. Because I know, you know, this guy's not that guy, and there was 3, and this 3, and that guy, and it's like, oh, fucking whatever, you know, I'm just into the music. And then I thought, but it's one big family. So I asked Mike Hickey, he said, yeah, and we toured with that, so which was wonderful. And then I had this South American thing, Jakarta, Hammer Sonic, a few of the festivals that had been lined up for, you know, for quite some time. So I thought, oh, well, okay, well, we'll just, Mike will play with us and we'll keep going until Jeff comes back. Because, you know, we were very aware we were all doing it for him not being there and supporting that. And then Mike couldn't leave America. He had something happened in his personal life and he wasn't able to commit to the tour. So now I've got no guitars to get. I'm like, oh, my God. And then Mr. Clean, War Machine, went on to doing Human Condition, and he was doing a lot of work with Dayside for the sound, so he can commit to shows. So I thought, okay, maybe that's where we just stop. And then I thought, well, hold on, you know, I'm going to get Mark Jackson, who's been with myself and Jeff before, and that will be good. And then Jeff can come back. Of course, then Jeff had his second heart attack. It's like shit. But when I toured in the US, the opening band was 72 Legions, and the kind of lead guy in that was Curran Murphy, and he'd been with Annihilator, Nevermore, and I watched him every night, and I just thought it was very different kind of music to what Venom does, but I watched his style and his technique, and I thought that guy is the guy that could maybe fill in and do the job. So I said yes to Jakarta, and I thought, well, let's go to Jakarta, play Hammer Sonic, and then we'll see if it works. If it doesn't work, then I'll just say, listen, we're just gonna take a break, and I'll just wait and see what happens. But it was amazing. It was amazing. Like 20,000 people or something lost their minds. The footage was great. The guys played like they'd been playing it all their lives. So I thought, okay, well, let's just keep going. And that way, there's nothing stopping. The fans still get everything they wanted. They still get to see the bands and hear the music. And Jeff can take his time. There's no pressure on him feeling bad about being sick. So, yeah. But the feeling in the band is amazing. And the shows we've done together as this 3-piece, 4 shows, and every show has been incredibly crazy. And everybody's loved it. So, why stop? It's who I am, so.
You played in Brazil before. What does My Country mean to Venom Inc?
Well, it's not a secret that Brazil is very deep in my heart since I was like 14. It was something that I dreamed of visiting, Rio, Carnival, and so I've been going as long as I can remember now. We played many times in Brazil, Curitiba, Fortaleza, Porto Alegre, of course, Rio and Sao Paulo. And there's something about, Latin America I love. I love Latin America, Central America, Latin America. I just love it. But there's something about Brazil when I get there. I don't know if in a past life I was Brazilian or something. I don't know. But when I get there, it's like I'm coming back home. And the people, the food, everything about it just makes me feel like I'm home. And so for me, in particular, Brazil is Venom Inc. Venom Inc. is Brazil. It's part of me. And I don't distinguish between the two. And even though Chile is amazing and Colombia I love completely, and we're off to Bolivia today, and then the shows have been great. I'm so excited because I know that when I finish, I'm going to finish in Sao Paulo. I'm going to be in Brazil, and so it means everything.
Venom Inc's last visit to the country was cancelled for reasons that remain a little unclear. What exactly happened?
What? Say that one again. Sorry, there's traffic and stuff. I'm on a rooftop in.
I can see. Your last visit to Brazil was cancelled for reasons that remain a little unclear to the fans. What exactly happened?
Well, the promoter had tried to put a festival together like the year before, and then I don't know what was going on. He wanted to do a mini kind of tour around it, and I don't know if nobody was buying tickets or there was something going on with the other promoters. But he just came to me probably about a month out of the thing happening and said, Tony, is it any way would you be okay if we delayed the festival and the shows and did them next year? And I was like, oh, because I was looking forward to it all year. And then I was like, oh, fucking hell, what, another year? I can't go. So I said, okay, well, if there's no way I can help, then there's no way I can help make it work. And he said, no, it's not you, it's me. And I said, okay, well then, whatever, as long as we're coming, then okay. So I said yes. And then the following year, we were maybe a week, 3 weeks away. There was no deposits, there was no tickets, there was no nothing, and I was getting a bit nervous. And then he had an extra show, and then he didn't have an extra show, and so it was all getting a bit confused. And then in the end, we couldn't come. We didn't have. He started talking about work visas and stuff, and I said, "You haven't got work visas," and I said, "We don't need them. We don't need them." I've been like, we've come out, we don't need them. So there was this big. And I got the feeling he was trying to cancel it for whatever reason, maybe tickets, I don't know. And I just said, listen, send the plane ticket so we can get on an airplane and we'll deal with everything when we get there. And he didn't ever send the air tickets. So it wasn't that we cancelled. It's like we couldn't come. We didn't have anywhere to go. We had no information, nothing. So, and I felt so bad. And I don't know if I didn't want the fans to blame us, but I don't want the fans to attack him and blame him because he's a good guy and I knew him, and he's done other work that's worked. for whatever was happening with this particular thing. I've got no idea, no idea. He would never told me why it was happening. He just was like this weird game. So I'm sure it was probably financial, maybe, but I don't. That would be guessed by me. You know, because sometimes it's like when you go places, the promoter wants to have the package, wants to do a good job, but it's expensive. You know, they've got to get flights and hotels and food and transport and backline and pay rental for a venue and stuff. So I understand that. I've been doing this a long time. And so if it's a case of money, they can't do it because they can't pay you so much money. I always negotiate and go, well, okay, well, how can we do it then? Let's do something else and do an extra meet and greet or have some extra merchandise or you know, drop the price and do an extra show and you know, so there's always a way to fix it. But I think some of the promoters, maybe they're a bit more greedy than they need to be. I don't know. Most of the ones I work with are absolutely beautiful and are just there to bring the music to the people. So I don't know. But I apologize completely. And again, why I'm so excited that we're coming with Possessed this time to do it. So let's have a great one.
Yeah. I'd like to talk about There's Only Black album. The album seems to have a more engaged theme than Venom's previous works. What motivated you to address topics such as the pandemic, disinformation, and populism?
Well, you know, it's not nothing strange to me. I mean, you know, even on Primeval, Parasite, there were songs that were megalomania. The Sabbath song was picked on purpose. There's songs about people, you know, because the corruptness of our governments and our rich establishment are the satanic, the true satanic on earth, you know. So when they cast aspersions, let's say, on fans of music, it's not the fans that are the bad people. It's not the bands that are the bad people. It's the organizations that control our countries. But they want to deflect. So I'm always curious about how, say, mankind, we can have a flood, a disaster, a landslide, a huge storm, and we all rush to help and send clothes and send food and send money and try and send people to help. And on the other side of it, we're developing drugs to beat cancer. And then when you flip it over, we're creating we're creating substances that cause cancers and getting people to use them. So it's like, so we're killing people and we're saving people at the same time. Right. So are we doing good things or bad things? Because we do it with both hands. And that's always like, what is that? Why are we doing that? Why do we do that? So, you know, like on Arvid, war was about that. And then We Got Time to Die and you know, about man's capability of doing something so great, so amazingly beautiful, like building a Sears Tower or building, you know, the most beautiful bridge. And we can also drop a bomb that destroys the whole city, like Nagasaki or Hiroshima, in one go. So I'm like, why would we? Why would we? And so it's not the people. It's always the people who pay the price for the political, who are the people who are never in line to be hurt in any way. Because the guy telling you to go shoot those soldiers up a mountain or something who are going to try and kill you back is not there with you. He's miles away in some kind of nice air-conditioned office, and he goes home at the end of the day. And it's funded by a government who are thousands and thousands of miles away, you know, getting paid big sums of money just to go and sit in a courthouse or something. So it's like, wow. And we allow that to happen. Why would we do that? But I guess it's part of our human psyche. So that's the intriguing thing. And Only Black, you know, it stems from, initially the album was going to be 2 albums. It was going to be The 9 Circles of Hell. And it was about your journey from birth to death, you know, for men and women, humans, you know, what happens to you when you're born with no information, and the information you gather throughout your life and things you place importance on, and you end up dying, and all of that stuff didn't matter in the end. So it's like, why do we experience that? Or how do we experience that? What do we think when that's happening to us? And why do we lose focus on the true meaning of life? You know, the good things in life, people, being good to people, and you know, good food, good friends, good conversation, you know, achieving your goals, being inspired by things, creating good art, or whatever it is you do. And so those were the questions that were deep in. And Mantas sent me a song, one of his songs, because we did a couple of 6 songs each for the album, and he sent one of his in, and I loved the sound of it. And I said, wow, that sounds great. I love that. Have you got any ideas for lyrics? And he said, well, actually, I wrote the lyrics. So I was like, okay, well, what's it called? And he said, well, I call it There's Only Black because when I died, I didn't see any angels. I didn't see any lights. There was nobody holding out a beautiful hand, nobody dressed in white. All I saw was black. And when he said that, it just gave me all that meaning. And that's what I was trying to address. If you go into a black hole where they don't know what is in the black hole, you might find out what's in there. It could be another universe, but you can't come out. You can't come back and tell me. When you die, when I die, when these people die, we all die our own death. We experience our own death experience, but we can't come back and tell each other what happened. And so I thought, yeah, so those are the questions of life, fundamentally. What happens if I do this? What happens if I pull this? What happens if I push that button? What happens if I drink this? You know, we're doing that all the time, questioning. And so I simplified the album cover. I saw the font I used for the name and the title on a mausoleum, because I thought, well, ultimately, that's, you know, the end of your life. And I saw this font and I thought that has meaning too. And I put the black hole, the energy circle. It's kind of inviting you in. If you come into the app, so it doesn't tell you what's in there. I got about crosses and virgins and chickens and whatever, you know. But I thought if I make it kind of, what do you see? Yeah, like I did on Orbit, there's lots of symbolism in that cover, but you might not see it. But if you study it and you look, you might see it. But that's up to the individual to see or to not see. You know, the Luciferian, the Lucifer is a light bringer, a bringer of knowledge. But he doesn't just go, well, this is how you tie your shoelace, this is how you write a book. He gives you laces and shoes. There's a book and a pen, there's paper and a pen. It's up to you to do the rest, you know, so as an individual. And so basically the cover is inviting you in. You might come into the album and find the answers to something. It might save you. You might find nothing. You might love it. You might hate it, but you will experience it yourself, and it won't be the same experience as the next person. And so that's hopefully kind of the line of, you know, life and death, you know.
I think you gave me the best in-depth explanation of an album I ever had in my interviews. Amazing.
Well, good. I hope people understand that. And you can just judge it as music and go, I hate it, I don't like it, or I love it, it's great. But you might find more to it. You might find more to it. But again, like everything, you know, we all drink coffee, but we all taste it differently. We all have things we like and things we don't like. You like apples, I don't like apples. I love oranges, you don't like oranges. You know, that's just human nature. That's who we are. So music's the same, and so is knowledge. So yeah.
Between 1989 and 1992, you recorded 3 studio albums with Venom. Among the 3, which one is your favorite?
Well, I mean, it's very difficult. Obviously, Primeval was a seminal album and a critical point for Venom. And I loved the production on it. I kind of probably wrote about 60% of it. And we did one cover, and then Mantas contributed, obviously, and School Days and Harder Than Ever and Into the Fire. And yeah, so it was an exciting time because myself, Abaddon, and Mantas were very excited about doing it again, or doing it together for the first time, because we'd all been associated for so long. So the idea of us doing something exciting, they were excited, I was excited, and I think the result was amazing. But I think on Temples of Ice, the follow-up album, the cover wasn't so good. The artwork wasn't so good. I didn't have any part in it. I didn't like it. And I thought we had some great tracks, but it wasn't produced properly, in my opinion. So I didn't think it had the same energy that I think the songs have energy, and I think the performances have energy, but I think the production wasn't as good as Primeval, and it suffered because of that. And Wastelands had a better production, but again, a terrible cover that had no relation to the songs, and I wasn't involved in that. But I think there was great songs on that too. So I could probably pick, rather than pick one favorite, I could make one great album from those three albums and have it produced really well. And in a way, why were they all three so different? At the time, it was frustrating me. But if you look at the Venom catalogue, no two albums have ever been the same. They've never sounded the same. You can't say Welcome to Hell sounds like black metal in production, and you can't say black metal sounds like a What Was Satan in production, or Possessed, or Calm Before the Storm, or anything after that. So I thought maybe that's the Venom way. You do it once, and that's what it is. You don't try and just keep doing the same thing over and over again and have the same production. So if you think of it in that way, then I understand a bit more.
And I think the same applies to Ave and There's Only Black.
Well, yeah, exactly. Two different approaches, two different meanings, all around the same themes, I Kneel Before No God, or Bloodstained Earth or something, and then we have a bit of fun in there, so we put a fun song in there. But yeah, very different approaches to the production. And I think on There's Only Black, it was more raw, more how we are live, I guess, and more intense. It was a lot more speed on there and stuff. But I think that, again, was part of that, life. If you take how long you live, we all talk about that, but if you take how long we live in the great scheme of things, it's a speck. It's less than a moment. And so I wanted the album to feel that kind of gravitas that it's rushing by. So hopefully you put the album on and all of a sudden it's finished. And you're like, so you want to go back. So that's why we put extra songs on to hopefully make it feel longer. So yeah. But yeah.
Do you feel that the passage of time has given Primeval, Temples of Ice, and Wastelands the importance they deserve?
Yeah, I do. A lot of people say, Primeval's underrated and, it should have got more. But everywhere I go, I see the album. Everywhere, everything I do, people talk about that album and the importance of that album. And at the time when it went out, it sold really well and it got 5-star reviews everywhere, because people thought, well, how can this exist without the original three? And it did. And it was a different existence, but it was part of the progression, part of the family, and part of where Venom were going. And so I think, but now even more so, people are contacting about Temples of Ice, the Wastelands, because the albums they didn't really get their hands on. So they're revisiting them now. And maybe that's because of Venom Inc. or whatever. But that's what's happening. So I had to actually work with BMG to relaunch those albums. So I did a box set and then they streamed them. And
please do this. We need this.
Yeah. So it's amazing. It's amazing that it took so long, but it doesn't matter how long it takes. And I always said that Venom, you could find Venom on Calm Before the Storm, Metal Black Hell, Fallen Angels, Primeval, Welcome to Hell. It doesn't matter when you find Venom. I just want you to find Venom. And we need a Venom in the world.
For the final stretch of the interview, I'd like to talk about Atomkraft, because Future Warriors album was recently re-released on CD in Brazil.
Yes, it was. And it's been amazing. The response to it has been amazing everywhere, because I wasn't initially involved in the project of re-releasing it. And then when they said it was being re-released, I was like, oh, okay. And Conductors of Noise and the Queen of Death. So I wasn't that, okay, well, whatever. But then I'm seeing the album everywhere. People are bringing it to shows. And I'm like, oh, it seems like everybody's now asking me, will you come and play Atomkraft? So I don't know. I have got, I was doing an Atomkraft album for like 20 years. And every time I got so far, I'd like be sidetracked and do something else. And then when I sat down to listen to tapes, I thought, actually, it doesn't feel Atomkraft to me. And I thought, originally, what did I want to do? And it was 1978, seeing Motorhead. And the Dickies were one of my favorite bands, punk bands. I saw Motorhead, heard Motorhead for the first time. And I thought, oh my God, I wonder what would happen. This was 1978. Carlos Caballero, the drummer from the Dickies, was playing at 220 beats a minute, unheard of. And I thought, what if you took something that was that fast and then added to sound like Motorhead? That must be like the most amazing thing in the world. And that's where Atomkraft was born from. But by the time I got to 1985, I didn't have the original band. The other two members, one was doing photography, one had moved away. And so I got two new guys in, and it was with Venom on the Neat label. And it came out, it wasn't the same album I'd planned initially, but when revisiting it, and I did one show where I played the whole album in its entirety, it was amazing. It was amazing, and I realized, oh yeah, that is it. When there's just the three of us, and when we're playing it how we played it back in the day, it is Atomkraft. It was the intention. So yeah, so I went back to those tapes and started to rewrite the songs, and I'm probably about 2 or 3 months away from production for a new album. But it would be the kind of precursor to Future Warriors, I guess, or the follow-up to Future Warriors, in the same vein, just three people, and just that, that classic Venom, Motorhead, Exciter, all of that kind of stuff, So yeah, blowing my mind, the response of it, and people asking for shows and will I tour and whatever. And you think, oh, well, I'm kind of busy at the minute, but if I could, yeah, I sure would, yeah.
Was there any rivalry between Atomkraft and Venom?
No, by the time because when we were all starting out, we were just like bands playing the local scene. So, nobody was making it. And once Venom did the first single, 1980, I was like blown away, because I didn't think people I knew could do that. I thought it was only somebody like other people, these other people play big venues. We don't do that. We're just kids. So that was quite supportive. But I think when we were on, by the time I had to get the new drummer and guitarist, and I was on Neat Records, the drummer was the brother of Venom's manager, Eric Cook. And he was suggested to me when I said I need a drummer, I'm looking to do some demos, by Conrad, by Kronos. He said, oh, I know a drummer who's just left the band. And so he suggested Jed, who was the brother, and he drum checked, I think, for Abaddon sometimes. So I was like, okay, we met, we got on really well. It seemed good, and so that's what we did. And then Abaddon suggested the young guitarist. We auditioned like 7 or 8 guitarists, but they're all kind of rock guitarists and long hair and a bit Skid Row, Motley Crue, and we were like, that's not really what we're looking for. And then Abaddon suggested a guy he knew, but the kid was like 16, and I went to visit him, and he played guitar, and I was like, oh fuck, yes, come on. So that was Rob, and he ended up being the guitarist on the album. So, but we never had a rivalry. We were all great friends. In fact, the first tour we went out, first show we played was with their Slayer at the Marquee on the Hell Awaits tour. And then the next thing we did was a tour of Europe with Exodus and Venom. So, it was great times, yeah.
What do you think of the current heavy metal scene?
Well, personally, I love it. I wish the genres would the barriers would be broken a little bit. And it's probably why me and Jeff Becerra wanted to do this, because we're playing classic black metal songs, if that's what you want to say, from the original, Countless Battery black metal, which, and of course, Jeff, it's death metal. So it's like kind of, you've got this two seeds coming together. And the reaction is mind-blowing, and so I see so many bands, I hear so many bands. They're all stuck in genres, and I wish we wouldn't see genres. So that's kind of why we're doing this, to go, listen, just because you can be this or that doesn't mean you can't mix the paint. So it should all come together. And I think what is wrong with right now? You got Metallica, Judas Priest still going. I mean, just think of the bands. Sabbath are talking about trying to do something. You know, Deep Purple are doing something. You know, so you got people like Glenn Hughes out there, and everything else. You know, Dave Mustaine, and then you've got you know, your Rammsteins, and you've got stuff off to the side. You've got the German thrash scene working. The Nordic black metal scene, just smooth doom metal coming out of the States that's blowing minds. All of those incorporated in Latin America, like this huge area with a million bands, all being progressive, all coming up with this amazing stuff. I've seen the best guitarists, drummers, bass players, singers. I'm like, it's mind blowing. So I think the genres tend to put them in boxes, so it feels like we're not that big, we're underground. But if you put them all into one place at one time, I think it's an explosion of talent. I think it's the most amazing thing. And I think if I was 16, when I was 16, I didn't have that. If I was 16 now, it's the best time to be alive for this kind of music, because you have everything. And it's wonderful to be part of.
Man, just to sum things up, do you have a message for the Brazilian fans?
Well, what can I say? For everything personally, for Mantas, for Venom as a whole, muito obrigado, desculpe. And I love you. I love you more than anything. And you mean something very special to myself, and very special to this band. And the association started in '86 when Venom came down there to do with Exciter in Brazil, and it has never stopped. And I'm going to hopefully be looking to record a particular event. I'm going to call it the Brazilian Assault, like the old series. I did one in Chile, and I want to do one in Brazil.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm going to do is every photo that I take leading up to that with fans in Brazil is going to be on the album inside the cover. So I'm going to do a huge booklet. It will be all of you guys in there, and it's just my small way of saying thank you for everything, and I love you.
Man, thank you so much for this conversation. I'm so happy we made it. And
yes,
unfortunately, I won't make it to the show on Sunday because I live 9-hour bus trip from São Paulo.
Oh, yeah, that's a bit okay. Well, I'll make sure that we come back and do some more.
Please,
I think in November,
come back to Rio. It's closer.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I will.
And as for my last request, would you please put horns up for the print screen? Yeah. Thank you so much, Tony.
Brilliant.
Enjoy Brazil.
That was a pleasure. All right, have a great day, and I apologize about the delay. So God bless you. See you soon anyway. Thank you.
See you soon, man. Take care.
Ciao, ciao.